Ladies and gentlemen, let me holler at you for a minute. Now see, everybody wanna talk about love. They wanna talk about chemistry, romance, flowers, dinners, fireworks. You know, that fairy tale stuff. But lemme tell you something. Without trust, all that other stuff, that's just noise. That's just decoration on a cake that ain't even been baked yet. You can't build no house on shaky ground. And trust, folks, trust is the foundation. I don't care if it's a relationship with your spouse, your kids, your friends, your coworkers. If trust ain't there, you got nothing but cracks in the walls. You ever seen a beautiful house, standing tall, shiny windows, perfect landscaping? But then you find out the foundation is cracked. That house can have marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and $1 million view. But if the ground beneath it ain't solid, it's gonna collapse. That's what relationships are like. You can have all the passion, romance, and excitement in the world, but if trust isn't at the core, it's just a matter of time before the whole thing falls apart. See, we live in a world where people focus too much on the surface. How a person looks, what they do for a living, how fun they are, what gifts they give, how many vacations they take together. All of that might look good on Instagram, but trust me, that ain't what keeps people together at night when the storms come. 'Cause trust me, they will come. Life will throw things at you. Temptations, misunderstandings, insecurities, family drama, financial trouble, you name it. And when that storm hits, what keeps that relationship from blowing away in the wind is trust. Now trust, it don't just happen because you said I love you a few times or took somebody out for dinner. Trust is built slowly, brick by brick, moment by moment. It's about showing up when you say you will. It's about being real when it would be easier to lie. It's about protecting your partner's heart like it's your own. It's about keeping your word even when it's inconvenient. And here's the thing. Trust ain't just about not cheating. That's the bare minimum. Trust is deeper than that. It's knowing that your partner is gonna have your back when you're not in the room. It's knowing they're not gonna make you look foolish behind your back. It's knowing you can share your truth, your fears, your dreams, and they're gonna hold it safe, not use it against you or throw it back in your face later. Without trust, what you really have is anxiety in disguise. You're always guessing, always wondering, always trying to read between the lines. You start acting like a private investigator instead of a partner. And that constant tension, that drains you, that steals your joy, that breaks down even the strongest love. But when trust is there, everything changes. You walk differently. You sleep better. You speak more freely. You love more deeply. You're not worried about guarding your heart every second because you know the other person is guarding it for you. You can go to war with the world and still feel safe because your relationship becomes your peace, not another battlefield. Now don't get it twisted. Trust doesn't mean perfection. People mess up. People get it wrong, but someone who values trust will own it. They'll apologize sincerely, they'll put in the work to make it right, and they'll protect the relationship moving forward. That's what makes the difference. You can't fake trust. You can't cut your way to it. It's earned, and once it's there, it's priceless. Because at the end of the day, it don't matter how fine they are, how funny they are, or how great the chemistry is. If you can't trust them, you'll never have peace. So if you're building something with someone, don't focus so much on the glitter and the glam. Focus on that foundation. Focus on building something solid, because when trust is the base, everything else, love, joy, intimacy, partnership, it all has room to grow. That's how you build something that lasts. Love is one of the most beautiful feelings in the world. It makes your heart race, your face light up, and your world feel a little brighter. It's the butterflies, the stolen glances, the late night talks, the way someone makes you smile for no reason. But here's the truth a lot of people don't talk about. Love can make you feel good, but trust is what makes you feel safe. And in any real relationship, that safety is everything. You can be head over heels in love with someone and still feel unsure, anxious, or insecure. Why? Because love alone doesn't guarantee stability. It doesn't guarantee loyalty, honesty, or commitment. Love is a feeling, and feelings can be powerful, but they can also be fleeting. Trust, on the other hand, is solid. It's not based on a moment or a mood. It's built through actions, patterns, and truth over time. Imagine being with someone who tells you they love you every single day. They text you sweet things, post your pictures, hold your hand in public. But deep down, you're constantly questioning their words. You wonder what they're really doing when they're not with you. You catch them in little lies. You don't feel comfortable expressing yourself because you're afraid they'll judge you, dismiss you, or worse, throw it back at you during a fight. That's love without trust, and while the feelings might be there, the foundation is cracked. Now flip the script. Imagine being with someone who doesn't just tell you they love you. They show it in the way they treat you. They're consistent. They're honest. They listen when you speak, even when it's uncomfortable. They keep their word, even in the small things. You know you can count on them. You know they're not hiding anything. And you know that when you're at your worst, they won't run. They'll stand by you. That's what trust brings to love. It transforms it from a feeling into a safe place. Because let's be real, life ain't always pretty. Relationships will face challenges. You'll disagree, go through tough seasons, and sometimes question everything. But if trust is present, you don't panic every time something goes wrong. You don't jump to conclusions or spiral into doubt. You sit down, you talk, and you know the person across from you is coming from a place of honesty and care, not manipulation or deceit. That kind of security, that's priceless. Trust makes it safe to be vulnerable, and vulnerability is where true connection happens. When you trust someone, you can take off the mask. You don't have to pretend to be perfect. You don't have to hold back your fears, your hopes, your past. You can show up as you are and know you're accepted and respected. That's deeper than love, it's soul level intimacy. See, love might bring the fireworks, but trust brings the peace. And peace is what you come home to. Peace is what keeps you grounded when everything else feels uncertain. Peace is what allows a relationship to grow through the seasons, through joy and through pain. And here's something else. When you feel safe, you're not afraid to love harder. You're not afraid to invest fully. Trust creates the space for love to flourish. It lets you exhale. It tells your heart you're good. You don't have to be on guard. You're safe here. So yes, love is a beautiful thing. It's exciting, it's powerful, it's necessary. But trust is the quiet strength that holds it all together. It's the reason love lasts. It's the reason love feels like home. Because feeling good is easy. Feeling safe, that's rare. And in every lasting relationship, it's the safety that makes the love real. Being in a relationship where trust is missing turns love into labor. It's not about connection anymore. It becomes a full-time job. You find yourself constantly on edge, always analyzing, always questioning. It's like you're not a partner. You're a detective. You start checking phones, watching for patterns, picking apart every word, every message, every late reply. And let me tell you, that ain't love. That's emotional exhaustion. You can love someone deeply, passionately, with every piece of your heart. But if you don't trust them, you will never find peace in that relationship. You'll always be trying to stay one step ahead, trying to protect yourself from the next possible betrayal. Your mind will run laps around questions like, where are they? Who are they with? Why didn't they call back? Why did their story change? And every unanswered question becomes a seed of doubt. That's the thing. When trust is missing, even the truth feels suspicious. Your partner could be doing absolutely nothing wrong, but your mind doesn't let you rest. You look for hidden meanings in texts. You overthink every word they say, and every silence becomes deafening. That paranoia, that emotional stress, it chips away at your happiness, your self-esteem, and eventually your love. You start to lose sight of who you were before the relationship. You weren't always like this. You didn't used to second guess everything, but slowly, without trust, you begin to transform. You become anxious, insecure, emotionally drained, and you start blaming yourself. Am I crazy? Am I too sensitive? No, you're not crazy. You're reacting to instability. You're reacting to an environment where trust doesn't exist. And in a space where there's no trust, even love starts to feel like a weapon. Because love without trust becomes fear, and fear turns love into control. You try to manage your partner's moves. You start asking more questions, laying more boundaries, not out of confidence, but out of fear of being hurt again. That kind of control doesn't come from strength. It comes from survival. You're trying to protect yourself from the very person who's supposed to be your safe place. And let's talk about what that does to intimacy. You can't be vulnerable with someone you don't trust. You can't fully open up or relax. You're always keeping one eye open, one foot out the door. That wall you build to protect yourself ends up blocking connection too. You're there, but you're guarded. You're smiling, but inside you're doubting, and that emotional distance, it grows. It turns the relationship cold. The saddest part is, this dynamic slowly kills what could have been beautiful. The love might have been real at one point, but without trust it suffocates. And then you're stuck in something that looks like a relationship on the outside. But on the inside, it's all tension, suspicion, and silence. On the flip side, when trust is there, you don't need to play detective. You don't need to babysit the relationship. You don't feel the need to chase, to question, to dig. You can just be. You can enjoy your partner's presence without needing constant reassurance. You can give them space without fear. That kind of freedom creates a healthy love. Love that breathes, and let's be honest, life is hard enough already. You shouldn't have to come home to another puzzle you're trying to solve. Your relationship should be your peace, not your problem. It should feel like a safe harbor, not a courtroom where you're always building a case. So if you find yourself playing detective in your relationship, it's time to step back and ask, is this love or is this surveillance? Because real love doesn't need a magnifying glass. Real love is transparent. It's rooted in honesty. It makes you feel secure, not suspicious. And when you have that, you'll never have to guess where you stand. Trust is one of the most fragile things in a relationship. It takes time, intention, and consistency to build. But just a single moment, a single lie, a single betrayal can break it. And once it's broken, rebuilding it is not only difficult, but it can take a lifetime. That's why it's often said, trust takes years to earn, seconds to lose, and forever to rebuild. And that's not just a saying, it's the absolute truth in every relationship, romantic or otherwise. See, when you first meet someone and start building a connection, you're both bringing something to the table, your hopes, your pasts, your vulnerabilities. But trust isn't automatic. It's not something you're just handed. It's slowly established through actions that match words. It's built when someone says they'll call, and they do, when they promise to be there, and they show up, when they're honest, even when it's inconvenient. Every small act of integrity is a brick in the foundation of trust. It doesn't require grand gestures. In fact, trust is built in the quiet moments, the ones where no one is watching, when your partner respects you even when you're not around, when they protect your name in a room full of people, when they listen not just to respond but to understand. Over time, those consistent choices create security. And once that security is there, real intimacy and deep connection can take root. But then, sometimes, it takes just one wrong move to shatter it all. Maybe it's a lie. Maybe it's a betrayal. Maybe it's hiding something that should have been shared. Whatever it is, that one moment can feel like an earthquake. It shakes everything. Suddenly, all those bricks you spent years stacking start to crumble. The person you thought you knew now feels like a stranger, and you begin to question everything. Was anything real? How long has this been happening? Can I ever believe them again? That's the painful part about broken trust. It doesn't just hurt your heart, it messes with your mind. It creates confusion, doubt, and emotional whiplash. And rebuilding from that isn't just about an apology. An apology is a start, but it's not the fix. Rebuilding trust takes time, it takes patience. It takes consistent, proven change, not just promises, not just words. Because once trust is broken, everything gets filtered through suspicion. Every late response, every missed call, every shift in tone becomes a trigger, and that's hard to live with. Now, some people say, if they broke your trust once, you should walk away. And for some, that is the right answer, especially if the person has no intention of changing. But there are also times when people truly make mistakes, times when they're genuinely remorseful and willing to put in the work. In those rare cases, trust can be rebuilt. But it's a long uphill climb, and here's the thing, both people have to be in it. The one who broke the trust must be fully transparent, humble, and accountable. They can't rush the healing. They can't get defensive or try to guilt the other person into getting over it. Trust doesn't work on anyone's timeline, but the one who was hurt, and the person who was hurt. They have to decide if they're willing to try, not out of pressure, but from a place of clarity and choice. Because forgiveness and trust are not the same thing. You can forgive someone and still not trust them again. Forgiveness is about peace. Trust is about consistency. One happens in a moment, the other happens over time. So if you have trust right now in your relationship, protect it. Don't take it for granted. And if you've broken someone's trust, understand that the road back is long, but not impossible. And if you're the one who's been hurt, don't let anyone rush your process. Healing takes what it takes. Because trust is the heartbeat of any strong relationship, and when it stops, everything else struggles to survive. Trust isn't something that just shows up and sticks around. It's not built in a day, and it definitely isn't kept alive through good intentions alone. Real trust is earned through consistency and honesty over time through your actions, not just your words. It's not about being perfect. It's about being reliable, being real, and showing up for someone even when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or hard. Anybody can say the right thing when everything is going well. Anybody can talk a good game when the skies are blue and the path is smooth. But trust is tested when things get rough, when mistakes happen, when temptations come knocking, when it's easier to lie than to tell the truth. That's when your character speaks louder than anything you could ever say. Consistency means being the same person whether times are good or bad. It means showing up in the little things and the big ones. When you say you're going to call, you call. When you say you're going to be there, you're there. When you make a promise, you follow through. Not once, not twice, but again and again until the people around you know they can count on you without question. That's what makes trust real, not grand gestures, not emotional speeches, but the everyday decisions that say, you can depend on me. Then there's honesty, and let's be clear. Honesty is not just about telling the truth when you're caught. It's about being upfront even when nobody's asking. It's about being transparent even when it might make you look bad. It's about owning your mistakes, taking responsibility, and not trying to cover things up or shift blame. Honesty requires courage. It takes a strong person to say, I messed up, or here's something I need to tell you, before it becomes a bigger problem. Honesty builds trust because it gives your partner confidence that they're seeing the real you, not just the version you want them to see. It creates safety. It lets them know, even if the truth is hard, at least I'll get it straight from you. That kind of openness doesn't just build trust, it deepens love. The truth is, trust and honesty go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other, and the same goes for consistency. You can be honest one day, but if the next day you ghost them, break promises, or act like someone they don't recognize, that honesty doesn't hold much weight. People don't just want to hear the truth once. They want to live in it. They want to feel it in the way you treat them, the way you move, the way you show up for the relationship. And here's the part a lot of people forget. Building trust isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily commitment. You don't just earn it and then sit back like the work is done. You have to keep earning it over and over again, especially in long-term relationships. People grow, circumstances change, challenges come up. You have to keep showing your partner that you're solid, dependable, and real. When you do that, when you show up with consistency and honesty, something powerful happens. Your relationship becomes a place of safety, a place where both people can relax, be vulnerable, and build a future without constantly looking over their shoulder. That kind of trust creates a bond that's hard to shake. And look, it's not always easy. Being consistent means showing up even when you're tired. Being honest means telling the truth even when it might cost you. But the payoff, a relationship built on trust, is a relationship that can weather anything. It becomes a place where love doesn't just survive, it thrives. Because when trust is built with consistency and honesty, everything else, love, respect, intimacy, has the space it needs to grow. Trust is the quiet strength behind every deep, lasting relationship. It's not loud, flashy, or dramatic. It's not the kind of thing people brag about on social media, but it's the one thing that makes everything else possible. When you truly trust someone, you don't just love them, you lean on them. You build with them, you grow with them, you feel safe, and that safety creates the space for a deeper connection than any amount of chemistry or passion alone ever could. When trust is present, something beautiful happens. You let your guard down. You stop trying to be perfect, stop pretending to be someone you're not. You don't feel like you have to hide your flaws, your fears, your mistakes. You can be real, completely and unapologetically, and the person you're with. They see all of that and still choose you. That's not just love, that's acceptance. And that kind of connection only comes when trust is solid. Trust removes the need for constant explanations and defenses. You don't have to justify every decision or second. Guess every move. There's an unspoken understanding. I've got you and I believe you. That belief, That quiet confidence in each other creates emotional security. And emotional security is what lets you build something that lasts. Because when you're not spending all your energy wondering if they're lying, cheating, or hiding something, you can focus on growing together, supporting each other, and dreaming about the future. Trust is also what allows for forgiveness. In every relationship, mistakes will be made, words will be said that shouldn't have been, decisions will sometimes hurt. But when trust exists, there's room to work through the pain. There's room to talk openly, to apologize sincerely, and to move forward. Without trust, even a small mistake can feel like a massive betrayal. With trust, you can separate the misstep from the person, and that makes healing possible. In a trusted relationship, there's no need for games or manipulation. You don't need to test each other, play hard to get, or keep score. That kind of behavior comes from fear, insecurity, and a lack of faith in the relationship. But when trust is strong, all of that fades away. You give freely, you love boldly, you support each other without fear of being taken for granted, and that brings peace, real deep soul level peace. Trust is also what creates space for each person to grow individually. You don't feel the need to control or constantly monitor your partner. You trust their choices, you support their growth, you cheer them on as they chase their goals and explore their passions. And in turn, they do the same for you. That mutual respect and belief in each other, that's where real partnership is born. Not one person dragging the other, not one person always sacrificing, but two people walking side by side, building a life together. And here's the truth. Trust doesn't mean you'll never feel insecure. It doesn't mean you'll never worry or doubt. But it does mean that those worries won't control the relationship. Because even in moments of uncertainty, you know the foundation is strong. You know the love is backed by honesty, loyalty, and mutual care. So when you have trust, everything else falls into place. Communication becomes easier. Intimacy becomes deeper. Love becomes richer. You stop surviving the relationship and start thriving in it. You go from, "I hope this lasts," to "we're building something real." At the end of the day, trust isn't just one part of a relationship. It's the root of it. Everything else, respect, love, connection, peace, grows from that root. And when that root is strong, the relationship can stand through anything. That's what makes trust not just important, but essential. So don't just fall in love. Build trust. Don't just say it. Live it. Cause at the end of the day, love is the melody, but trust is the beat that keeps the whole song together. Thank you.